New York Jets are in the news once again. This is a team we love talking about the Jets because they're young, they're competitive. Robert Saleh has this team heading in the right direction, but it's obvious they have a position they absolutely need to address. We all know it. It's the quarterback position, and there's an exciting update on that front. But before we get into that, Jets fans, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Obviously, quarterback, that's the number one issue you have to address this offseason. But give us one other position outside of quarterback that you really think the Jets need to improve on this offseason, whether it's free agency, trade, draft, whatever it may be. Give us one position group in the comment section below that you think the Jets really need to address this offseason. But obviously, going back to the quarterback position, right, that's where all the wheels are turning. That's where all the force is behind in the New York Jets organization. Woody Johnson came out, of course, at the beginning of the offseason and said, hey, listen, we're going to do whatever we can to get a quality veteran quarterback. Because frankly, this team with at least decently capable quarterback play, they were in the playoffs last year. I think they beat the Patriots at least one, if not both of those times. I definitely think they beat the Dolphins the last game of the season. And then they get in the playoffs if they just are average at quarterback, let alone, solid or even frankly good. And right now, it looks like the Jets are heading in the right direction. They obviously had their eye on Aaron Rodgers, and they, of course, had Derek Carr, the former Raiders quarterback, for a visit. And the New York Post had an interesting report on that. And I'll read this from the report here. ESPN's Jeff Darlington said on Get Up on Monday that, quote, we have had some hard conversations that are going to be happening in Florham Park this week. That's the Jets headquarters, following a weekend meeting with Carr that went, quote, really well. Darlington went on to say, quote, I'm told it was a very positive meeting that the Jets really believe that Derek Carr is the type of quarterback that can lead them to a potential championship, Darlington said during the segment. All right, that's obviously very high praise for Derek Carr, and obviously the Jets, to be fair to the Jets, I know a lot of people may think Derek Carr is a little overrated in that context, but when you've had the issues you've had at the quarterback position for a long time like the Jets have had, having someone that's at least solid and capable, who knows how to be a franchise quarterback, that can win games for you, take your team to the playoffs. He was an MVP candidate a number of years ago. People kind of forgot that about Derek Carr. He's been a relatively good leader. He's gone through a lot of hardships with obviously the Gruden situation, the Raiders, and how all of that deal ended with McDaniels as well, like a consummate pro. The fact that they have that guy in there kind of makes some of the other issues they've had, especially recently with Zach Wilson, kind of like, okay, this is what a pro looks like. This is what we really need at the quarterback position. And look, if we take a step back and look at the Jets roster, they really don't need to be somebody elite. They don't need Mahomes. They don't need Allen. They don't need a Burrow to save it because the roster is scary good. If you look at the offensive side of the ball, we all know Garrett Wilson's a beast. Breece Hall's going to, if all indications are he's going to be healthy, and hopefully he comes back and he does, he's a beast. Hopefully these tackles can stay healthy for at least 5 games this season. If they do that, the offensive line's a lot better than people think. They got some of these younger wide receivers that I think are really solid. They could probably do with one more, but they got a decent group back there. And this New York Jets defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. And I think there's an interesting tweet that came out right about the same time. It's from Todd Furman talking about Derek Carr's crew at the Raiders. And if you look at the points per game allowed, the Las Vegas Raiders and Oakland Raiders were part of that time when Derek Carr was their starting quarterback. If you look at what they gave up per game and where they ranked in the NFL, obviously last year they gave it 24.6. That was 26. 2021, 25.8, 26. 2020, 29.9, 30th. 2019, 26.2, 24th. You see the trend here, right? They were not good defenses at all, the Raiders. Look at those numbers. Those are not good numbers. But if you look at the New York Jets defense, right? If you look at them last season, the New York Jets finished 4th in the NFL in points per given up on a per-game basis at 18.6. And if you look at the teams around them in the rankings, the 49ers, the Bills, the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Bengals, all playoff teams. So it's proof there. The Jets have a playoff caliber defense, and Derek Carr has taken a lot of heat for not winning enough games, but he's had nothing but terrible defenses. If you put Derek Carr in with this Jets team, they're a playoff team. Right? Derek Carr has taken the Raiders to the playoffs despite having bad defenses. He's kept them in contentions despite having bad defenses. If he goes to the Jets with all the young athletes they have, and they're really, really good with explosive playmakers on offense, Garrett Wilson's going to be a superstar for a long time. And then you put him with that defense, this is one of the better teams. This may be the best team in the AFC East because we talked about in an earlier video. The Bills, I think, are in a little bit of a decline. Josh Allen's contract is really going to bite him. We really don't know what the Patriots situation is quarterback. Mac Jones, how's he going to work out with Bill O'Brien? What's going on there? Of course, the Dolphins, they are good, but the injury issues with Tua are legitimate, and they really haven't had a chance to kind of get out of their young shell and win some big games. I think the Jets really have a position, and people forget this, by the way. The Jets beat the Buffalo Bills last year, so don't forget that as well. But the Jets really have the talent. If they just get better at quarterback, just a little bit better at quarterback, they can contend in the AFC East. And Derek Carr isn't a little bit better at quarterback. He's a lot better. And the fact that Derek Carr was able to do what he did with the Raiders despite having literally no defensive help, according to these statistics here, that's a sign that if he slides in with the Jets, he could just immediately push this team to the playoffs. And when you talk about salary cap restraints and talk about long-term decision-making, looks like like the decision potentially could be between Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. With Derek Carr, he's going to be a free agent, so you just give him some cap space. Aaron Rodgers, you probably have to give up more cap space, and you're going to have to trade for him as well. So you look at it from that perspective, risk-reward. Look, I know Aaron Rodgers is better probably for a game, for a season, but over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, it seems like Derek Carr is a better investment and a better fit. And right now, the New York Jets tend to look like they're tending to lean in that direction, going the Derek Carr route. But no matter what happens over these next few days and weeks, I think Jets fans, stay tuned because it's going to be really exciting here. Whether it's Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, someone else, it's very clear that the Jets are all in on addressing the quarterback position.